It's clear to see that California is one of the best states for roller coasters and amusement parks. There are several major parks in this state, including Six Flags Magic Mountain, Knott's Berry Farm, Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, California's Great America, Universal Studios Hollywood, and the original Disneyland. California has over 85 operating roller coasters across these 6 parks and more. With all that said, I would like to get to the point of this video. Today, I'm going to be ranking the top 10 roller coasters in the state of California. West Coast Racers is a really good ride. This ride has 2 separate tracks, each one with about 2,000 feet of track, 2 inversions, and 2 launches, giving a total of 4,000 feet of track, 4 launches, and 4 inversions. This ride reaches a top speed of 55 miles per hour, and the dueling element adds a lot to this ride. This ride was an amazing addition to Six Flags Magic Mountain when it opened in 2019 as their 19th roller coaster. Gold Striker is another amazing ride. It only stands about 100 feet tall and only reaches about 50 miles per hour, but this thing is very aggressive. There's a ton of sustained floater airtime along this ride. It has about 3,500 feet of track and twists and turns around its long layout full of dips, twists, and airtime hills. I love this ride because of its sense of speed and, as I previously said, the airtime. Joker at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom is an amazing RMC. It has some of the best inversions out of all of them. It stands 150 feet tall, which was to comply with the strict height limit of the park. This ride is at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom and is clearly their standout attraction. This ride is amazing. There are 2 RMC single rails in the state of California. I think the other one is slightly better, but this one is still amazing. Wonder Woman Flight of Courage at Six Flags Magic Mountain climbs up 130 feet and drops down all the way to the ground before going through 3 inversions and a buttload of airtime hills. This ride is just amazing. It served as Six Flags Magic Mountain's 20th roller coaster when it opened in 2022. This is the better single rail roller coaster in California. Unlike Wonder Woman Flight of Courage, this ride has whip. It is insanely intense, and it just throws you from side to side. It only has about 1,900 feet of track, reaches 50 miles per hour, and is only 100 feet tall. But this ride is miles more intense than something like Goliath at Six Flags Magic Mountain that stands almost 300 feet tall. Isn't that crazy? Just like Railblazer, Tatsu is a very intense ride, but not in quite the same way. Tatsu starts out really high off the air, frightening its riders. It then drops down into 2 inversions that are very graceful and floaty. You then complete 1 turn that lines you up with the most demonic element you may ever see. The pretzel loop takes you 360 degrees face first, 120 feet down to the ground. After this, you go through a small 0G roll and twist into the brake run like nothing ever happened. Accelerator is an all-time favorite of mine. Entering the top 4, this intimate accelerator launches you from 0 to 82 miles per hour in 2.3 seconds up a 200-foot top hat, then spiraling down 90 degrees into 2 forceful overbank turns. Even though it's short, this ride packs one of the biggest punches in all of California. I just can't get over how amazing the launch on this ride is. It is by far the best launch coaster in all of California. This is amazing. Ghost Rider at Knott's Berry Farm is the best wooden roller coaster I've ever ridden. I haven't ridden Eltoro yet, and that might be better, but that doesn't matter right now. Ghost Rider is the centerpiece attraction at Knott's Berry Farm. It might not be the tallest or the fastest, but it has so much airtime and especially so many lateral forces. You start out by dropping down about 100 feet, going through a massive airtime hill, and then a super intense turnaround. You then do some more bunny hops into the mid-course, then you go through a tight course of little bunny hills until you reach the finale, an insane 360-degree unbanked helix. This ride is phenomenal, and it is my favorite ride at Knott's Berry Farm, and one of my favorite rides ever. X2 is an off-the-walls, insane roller coaster. This is my second favorite roller coaster of all time, and here's why. You start out by flipping 200 feet in the air onto your face, and then dropping 200 feet down all the way to the ground. You then traverse a trippy element that hangs you above the ground, and then you go into a regular hill. This might just seem like a normal hill, but you do a backflip while going over it because of the unique kind of seating arrangement that X2 has. You then go into the only dull part of the ride, which is a long, drawn-out turnaround. But this is immediately followed up by one of the best parts of the ride, the amazing zero-G roll. After that, you traverse one final rough inversion, and you slide into the brake run. This ride is just so insane, and I remember the first time that I went on it with my friends back in 2023. I was completely blown away, and I had no idea what just hit me. It was probably one of my favorite rides ever at the time, and it still is. I think everybody was expecting Twisted Colossus to come in at number 1 because it is genuinely an amazing ride, even without the dueling aspect. Speaking of the dueling aspect, Twisted Colossus opened in 2016 with a one-of-a-kind Mobius loop circuit. You start out by going down a drop, but there's somebody next to you. It's the same situation for almost every single element that you traverse. This means that it creates a bunch of nice near misses and places where it looks like you might just be able to high-five the other train. Twisted Colossus is so much fun, and the first time that I rode it, I had no idea how good it was going to be, but it surpassed my expectations by a million miles. This ride is amazing because every element is good, and you basically get to do 2 RMCs in 1, which means Magic Mountain basically has 3 RMCs. Isn't that crazy? It's so much fun, and it's one of my favorite rides of all time. Actually, it is my favorite ride of all time, because I haven't really been to that many parks. But still, that doesn't change how amazing Twisted Colossus is. But I do want to talk about the dueling factor, because recently, or not so recently, but in the past, the dueling has not been working because the operations have been either too slow or they have not been running enough trains to duel. This really sucks because that was one of the best features about Twisted Colossus. It still occasionally duels, and the few times that I've been to the park since they stopped dueling, I have seen them do a few. But that doesn't change, as I said before, how amazing this ride is. Thank you.